What is this? Radical feminism. Uh-oh. What's he talking about?
You notice radical feminism is getting far more radical as men are pulling back and becoming more conservative. Have you noticed that they're going the other way?
Yeah.
It's funny, huh? Because feminists need to constantly convince pretty women to completely let go of men because now there's hardly any men to deal with, especially with the pressures, the dating pressures and the selective pressures of dating apps where only the top percentile of men exist that are taking all the women.
It's all thanks to women. No, but for real though. No, for real. Like, we've talked about this before. We have. It's the concept that like every boy and girl or man and woman labels themselves 1 through 10. 10 being the best, and then 1 is like, oh my god, I'm born ugly, you know? Men who are 8s will look down and go on dates with 5s, but women of the same caliber will refuse to look down. They might look down, if she's a 10, she will look down to an 8 maximum. Like, so it creates this like problem where on the men's side, for example, anything above a 7 is like taking all of the women. Though, something I've wondered is how much of a problem this really is. Like, if you really think about it, how many people are actually using dating apps where this happens? Because this is like almost exclusively a dating app problem. You don't see this like phenomenon happening in real life. Like if you're outside and like talking to people, right? And I think the reason is because it takes a dating app to kind of signal boost yourself in like a central location where everyone can start to create this kind of thing. I don't know what to call it, like a leaderboard, I guess. Like I think that's what it is, where you can like be directly compared to all the other men and be labeled like as a 9 or an 8 or a 7 or whatever, right? So the question is like, how many people are still using dating apps at this point? Are they dying? Any social media profile works for this? Yeah, but I would say dating apps definitely are the biggest ones. Like, I get Instagram and, like, I guess maybe Twitter. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think people date on Twitter. But on Instagram, definitely. I think that's how people signal themselves. It's awful for men in my personal experience. I think it's awful everywhere. IRL happens too in big cities. Does it? Does it? Like, to the extent of dating apps? I don't know. I just went on a little bit of a tangent. let me keep going.
So how do you compete? You got to take all the women out of the dating pool. So make them crazier, give them bull rings, face tattoos, make them fat, rainbow colored hair. All of this shit comes down to the same shit it's come down to since caveman days. She wants a man, she wants his resources, she can't compete with the hotter chick, so how can she sabotage the hotter chick in order to get that kind of man? Same time, it's so sad that this is what society has become. Convincing women why kids are bad, convincing women to be like lonely spinsters, convincing women to just hand their body out to anybody and everybody.
Oh man, I got a lot to say about that. Like, nothing makes women more unsure and self-conscious and unhappy than other women, especially jealous women, in my opinion. Like, show me one male that's telling women that having babies is losing to the patriarchy. Like, show me one singular man. Show me a guy that's like telling girls not to get married because they'll become quote unquote slaves to their husbands. Like, the only other people I see saying that kind of stuff is other women. Like, I'm sure you could probably find a few, but my point still stands. It's a 99-to-1 issue. There are exceptions to the rule. And if social media didn't exist to signal boost these people that want to criticize women for wanting to have kids and being a housewife or a trad wife or whatever you want to fucking call it, we wouldn't be having this problem. performative males? That is not a male feminist. No, I'm saying there's exceptions, obviously, but I would say the vast majority don't say that shit. I do see responsible men saying kids are a mistake, unfortunately. Yeah, I can see that. Vosh! Well, the guy likes horse peepees. I mean, I wouldn't take his, I would take his opinion with a grain of salt, you know what I'm saying? And to be honest, if you think about it, this is kind of like a chain reaction and like a fusion reactor, you know? Because when the lonely women succeed in gaslighting the other women into being lonely with them, you create more lonely people in general, like men and women, both genders, right? And everyone knows that most lonely people hate seeing other people be happy in a relationship. It's just, it is what it is. So they start shitting on happy couples and being doomers. You know, it's like a game of Infected or like Zombies. You know that game? The mobile game, Pandemic? Every time someone is successfully gaslit into like hating the opposite gender, it creates another infected and then goes and tries to gaslight more people. Remember that guy that I banned the other day who was like crying and being a bitch in chat? Like that's the guy. He wanted to propagate his message of like all women are bad, and we're just like, huh? That's not what's going on here. Chill out. This happens with men too. Again, when there was that, there was a ton of people just livid with Asmon for having a girlfriend. I don't think it's as prolific as it is with women, but it does happen. I absolutely saw a lot of people when he was talking about having a girlfriend, or I think it was on Twitter, or it was a video or something, and there was a lot of salty people. They were like, no, he's our incel, and it's like, he's not allowed to be happy? What the fuck? He had a girlfriend? Yes, he's had several girlfriends. And again, this chat, this, my dear smugglers, is why I try to white pill you whenever we cover these kinds of topics. It's important to call out these bad behaviors in women, but it's also important to like remind you that it's not all women. It's not every single woman out there. And some of you may get mad at me for it, but I'm not gonna stop. You can suck my balls, proverbially. I will always remind you that your special person is out there. They do exist. It's possible to find your waifu, even if you're 35 or 45. It's never over. My brother didn't get properly married until like 36. Yeah, and he had a lot of girls. You can always find someone out there. You have to be content with yourself before you find someone, but that's besides the point. Like, it doesn't matter if your hairline is receding, or you're a short king, or your heart's stuck in platinum on League of Legends or CSGO or whatever. Like, there's a woman out there for you. Society has just made it extremely difficult to find them. Okay? You gotta have faith. I have to slay some trolls before you find the princess. Yes, exactly. You gotta have some faith. Gotta have some faith. 36 for men getting married is too soon. No, it's not. Come on. I know you're probably joking, but yes. I've mastered the Huntress of DBD. That's good. Did Smug Bro leave any women for us? Yes, he went through a lot of crazy women, by the way. Little side note, my brother met the craziest women. They were very mentally ill. Very mentally ill. I've talked about this before. It does happen. You just have to wade through the bunch of shit and you have to find them, okay? Gotta have faith. Swallow the white pill, chat! That's right! That's right! Okay, Jesus. I went off the deep end, but anyway, my point is swallow the white pill. Swallow the white pill. Okay.
Over like a hookah and chill, and not value themselves, and then
chill.
still blame men instead of blaming the women that literally seeded them with this idea of like, let's be a loose fucking bicycle for the town.
Holy.
And then it's not my fault that men are using me. It's not my fault that I can't find a good guy. It's not my fault that men don't like it that I do OnlyFans. No, it's men that need to change. Men need to compromise. Men need to lower their standards or change their standards completely. But God forbid a man has standards himself. If a man says like, I don't want a chick with tattoos, I don't want a chick that does OnlyFans, I don't want a fat chick, and I don't want a chick that's barren and tied her tubes, oh my God, you are a bigot.
Oh my God, you're a bigot, chat. You have preferences. Cheese and crackers, man. I have another video we're gonna watch after this one that basically says women hate you for your abhorrent, like, political beliefs. Like, so let's not forget that part. We've all seen the chart. Like, imagine I'm putting my hands up, right? The big old chart about how there's this massive growing rift in political identification between, like, men and women. Remember the South Korea one, USA, EU, and I think the other one was Brazil or something? Like, you're not allowed to have standards and not want to have a dated fat chick, but they're allowed to not like you if you don't nerf your political beliefs. Women are attracted to manly dudes, on average, who can protect them. Like, it's coded in our biology, okay? It's just like, you can't fight it, okay? And the men that have these traits tend to be conservative. It's just the way it is. This isn't just me being an asshole either. It's not just my opinion. We read an article the other day that said that having a boyfriend / husband feels conservative. This is really, really bad for society, by the way. These perceptions that we have, and for birth rates, okay? What about femboys? You're allowed to be a femboy. There's also manly femboys too. Yeah. Except one guy, he's progressive in a MAGA body. Oh yes, of course. Hassan, how could I forget? Silly me. Okay. Alright, what was he talking about?
You are toxically masculine.
Yeah, that's it. There it is.
This is the patriarchy. You're a misogynist. They have a million words for a man who has preferences, but we got 0 words for a woman with preferences.
By the way, just a side note on the fat thing. Women are allowed to say, I want a 6-pack and I want him to have a massive dong, but as soon as you start talking about weight, they lose their mind. Hello?
Isn't that strange?
Isn't that
She's
weird?
just empowered. She's a boss babe. It's positive when you're a woman with standards.
Queen,
but when you're a man with standards, this is the inversion that we're dealing with in society today, which is why men are pulling back. We're starting to see behind the curtain. This is all bullshit. This is the whole trust the experts. This is the whole, like, what the mainstream news is telling you. All of this is do the opposite. Do the opposite and you'll be happy. Do the opposite of what the news tells you. Do the opposite of what these so-called politicized mainstream experts are telling you. Trust the experts. They're all paid for to, toe the narrative of the administration. Fuck all of them, right? Fuck what mainstream ideologies are telling you, like feminism.
Fuck all of them. True. I mean, again, this goes for all walks of life. Like, let's be honest. Like, you should ignore mainstream media of all forms, not just when it comes to like dating and relationship advice. You should be kind of like ignoring it, period. You should be aware of it, but don't take it to heart. Not even video games are safe, by the way, as we've seen so many times. There's a reason that if you type journalist in my chat, you see a sad little Pepe working for McDonald's, okay? Like, you should be skeptical of any mainstream media or journalist or any major organization or corporation that presents you with any kind of information. That's what you should do as a human being. Because at the end of the day, these are corporations. They don't give a fuck if you're happy. They don't care about you. They don't care about what you do. All they care about is making money. Which means that they'll often say the thing that will continue to make them more money and not the thing that's the truth, okay? Where's the Pepe? He's right there. Look at him. He's all sad and stuff. He's putting the fries in the bag. And again, it's just... I always get really ticked off when people start saying like, oh, Blizzard really cares about the LGBTQIA plus community, and then it's like, oh, they put the trans flag in there. It's like, well, you do realize they don't really care about you, right? They're still a major corporation. They still have like sponsors in Saudi Arabia where being gay is illegal. Like, do you think they care? Like, that's kind of cute, but you know, you can get parasocial with corporations. I'm gonna get parasocial with viewers. It's a little bit different, isn't it?
No thanks, because look at what it's done to women. More unhappy than they've ever been, on more pharmacological drugs than they've ever been. 50% of liberal women are depressed. 50% of liberal women are taking SSRIs. That's crazy.
SSRIs are ruining the country.
The statistic, guys, half of the blue hairs are incredibly unhappy with their lives. And it's like, oh, gee, does that shock anybody here listening and hearing that? They're like, oh yeah, liberal women, Karens and shit are deeply unhappy. No shit. They have no kids. Their only kids are their fucking animals. Dog mom, cat mom. I have fucking 6 ferrets. I'm a snake mom. It's like metastasizing into all this other shit. Your mother in nature wants to come out and you're doing it to your dogs. I'm so sick of this dog mom, cat mom shit. Bitch, go have a baby already. It's a dog. And I love dogs. Trust me, I'm a big on Steve Irwin. I grew up on Discovery Planet or Animal Planet and Discovery Channel, and I love animals, but like you're taking it too far. You're treating your dog like it's a child. You're dressing them up. You're doing all this crazy shit. Bitch, get a kid already. Jesus, help us.
Oh my God. Oh my Lord, he tore into him. Like, I half agree. Like, sometimes, hear me out. I half agree. Sometimes the problem is that these women want babies, but they've been told their whole life that having a child means you've quote unquote lost to the patriarchy, unquote. So they compensate by being a dog mom or whatever. That does happen, absolutely. But some women just genuinely don't want to have kids. And I think the big problem is that there's this stigma around settling down and having kids that women have set for themselves in this day and age. It can cloud your vision as a woman and create confusion. It's like a smoke bomb. You know, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to have kids as a woman. There's also nothing wrong with wanting to have babies as a woman. But there is a problem with wanting babies, but then pretending you don't because some retard on Twitter or whatever told you it's bad. And then you take out that frustration by like generalizing all men as a coping mechanism and ranting about them on Twitter because you can't fucking come to terms with the fact that your biological clock is ticking and soon you won't be able to have babies anymore. Like, that's what it ultimately comes down to. You're, like, fighting against, like, thousands and thousands and thousands of years of biology. What's weird is feminists don't push for adopting either. They push for pet ownership. It's weird. Yeah, I never understood that. I mean, adopting is also a really big deal, but, I mean, that's besides the point. What about those who can't have babies due to medical reason? I knew a woman that was like that. She was an older woman, she just never had babies. And you want to know the saddest part? Is that she was amazing with me as a kid. She was friends with my mom. And every time, well, not every time, it's not that the topic came up all the time. Obviously, it's a sensitive topic. But I remember my mom one time brought it up. She was like, why didn't you have kids? You're so great with Alana. And she was like, I really wish I could have, but like, you know, just it didn't work out. And it was kind of like implied through the conversation that she couldn't have babies. And she was like 50 or 60 years old. And I was wondering to myself, I was like, aw, that's so sad. Like, she couldn't have babies. She's like, I tried adopting, but it just didn't really work out. Like, you have to have that kind of special, like, heart to like adopt someone that's not related to you and raise them as your own child. That's so hard. I don't think everyone is suited for it. But I'm kind of going off the deep end, but the point is like there's absolutely exceptions to the rule, but there's a lot of women who think that they're like that, like the woman that I'm talking about, but they're really not. They're just being like, oh, well, I don't want to have babies because it'll ruin my life. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? That woman that I'm talking about that wants to have babies and can't because of whatever reason, biological or not, she would kill to be in your position, and you're just like taking it for granted and saying like, oh yeah, well, I don't want to have babies because it'll ruin my body. It's like, this is all for the wrong reasons. Babies don't fit my brand. Yes, exactly. Remember that quote? Being with a boyfriend doesn't like fit my brand. Ugh. Also, on the note of not having kids, like this kind of just popped in my head. I can't remember if I've said this before. Maybe I have, but I feel like oftentimes it's like these people that don't want children that end up being the best parents, right? There's people who come from trauma as well, who have like really bad parents, but then they're hesitant because they don't want to pass on the trauma or whatever, or their upbringing to their kids. And the reason is because like a lot of the people that don't want to have kids don't want them because they, how do I say it? Like they don't want them because of the gravity of the responsibility that having kids entails, right? You're gonna lose a lot of free time. You're gonna have to work to provide for that child for the rest of your life, or at least up until a certain point. Your entire life will switch to being about that child rather than being about yourself. Maybe you have to change as a person. You have to get your life under control. If you have problems like emotionally or whatever, you never know. And it's the fact that they know that's what being a parent entails, that usually means they end up being a good parent. And I'm not saying like all people that don't want kids should have kids. I think it's usually like they hate the idea of children until they hit their like mid to late 20s, and then they have kids and they're good parents, you know? I think that's actually like a sign of like pretty high emotional intelligence, where you're like weighing your options or your past experiences. Maybe you had bad parents or whatever, and then you think like, oh god, I think I'm gonna have a bad parents because my parents were not good enough, and then I think I'm gonna pass on. But then you become a parent and then it doesn't happen because you're aware of the things that have happened to you, and you don't want to pass that on to your child or whatever. Again, just my opinion. Like I've seen it happen a few times. I don't know, that's my opinion. Everybody screws up their kids in different ways. Just gotta make sure you're not abusive or absent parent, and probably fine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, it depends on the person. I don't have anybody's experiences. Like, I don't know what you're going through. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys this because it kind of ties into like my earlier point.